Good morning and welcome back to yet another session of our 7 spheres of influence. We already had the session where we had an overview of what the spheres of influence were and the importance of each spheres. And then since last week, we started having a deep dive in each sphere. And last week, we looked into the family as a sphere of influence because everything starts with the individual. And when we speak about influence, we are, of course, talking about how the individual is influenced and how, as a mass of individuals which make up a village, the society, the nation, how the mass is influenced at so many levels of their lives. So today, we will be looking into a vector of influence, so the medias. So what? Because the media plays a significant role in distributing whatever ideas, thoughts, culture that is influencing everyone around us, right? In any country, in any culture, in any society. So Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Media will be sharing voices, will be sharing words, will be sharing ideas, which is most of the time spoken, but then written down, recorded either on videos or written down in papers or in movies, whatever. So these ideas are being replicated, shared around through media. So that's why media is, as I said, plays an important role because it's the main vector of these influencers. So why does media matters? Like I just said, the media is the voice of the society. It's very well known that people will behave as per what they hear and as per what they see. When we talk about our kids, we always say, the kids is doing what they see and hear in the house, like their parents. We might be teaching them a lot of things, but when he sees us doing things or hears things, that's what they do. That's the power of media. So similarly, because we consume a lot of content through media, so these media are said to shape how we see the world. It's called worldview, or how we see the world. We see the world through what we hear, through what we read, through what we watch, all of that. And of course, when news are spread, we will be sitting and discussing this and having and creating opinions on matters based on what we've read or what we've heard or what we've watched. So we don't know if this is true or false, right or wrong, but the information comes to us, the data comes to us, and we make out an opinion and we take decision based on these opinions. So medias create narratives that influence decision, values, and beliefs. This is what I just said. So the narrative is how this story is being told, how this information is being brought forward, how this news or words or whatever is being brought to the audience. The audience is us consuming whatever contents come through the media. So, of course, you already understood how powerful it is because it it spreads information instantly across nation. Now we have what we call social media, all right? So social networks, now Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter in some countries, um, and even WhatsApp, like instant messaging, WhatsApp or Telegrams or other platforms like that, which instantly media is being shared across. This is the power of media. This is the networks and the vectors. So the problem is, like I said just before, we the information that is being shared can either be true or false. It can either bring forth truth or distort it because the one who controls the information, the one who spread the information has the power in his hand to twist it, to enhance it, to change it, to whatever, and then spread it across the full spectrum to everyone who is listening to it. So we know that during election or important times or periods in countries, in nation, media plays an important role. So that's why we say it shapes election, it shapes culture, it shapes morals and lifestyle. Shaping election in our own country, in our island, in Mauritius, last year around the time for elections, there was something that was diffused on the media. It called the happening of Monsieur Moustache. So Monsieur Moustache came along and gave a lot of information and news. This has a very big impact in the way people voted. That's why I say it shapes election. So and we saw also uh, during the time of the U.S. election how Donald Trump and everything. So you had media information against and media and information for. So the media is the vector, but the content that comes through it, because everyone is hooked on media. So on any media platform. So on culture, of course, the way people want to live, the way certain things are happening. So it's because it's spread out in the media, people think it's okay to go with it and they adopt this lifestyle. Let a clear example would be watching movies and what happens in movies, the way relationships are built, the way relationships are ended, the way moral values are spread out in films. People tend to adopt these things. That's why I said we say it shapes culture, morals, and also the lifestyle. So let's look down now at some biblical views on communications. We've read in Proverbs, words carry power. When we say it, you have the power of life and death, it's because what we say can lead to death or can lead to life. For instance, if we accuse falsely, that person can maybe sentenced to death, or it can be not literally a physical death, but also all kind of death, emotional death, a relationship, death in relationship, broke, all kind of that. Or life, it means we might bring truth, which can save the life of someone in a witness case, or which can restore relationship, can enhance forgiveness and love, and so on. So a very clear example of communication is that God communicates through His Word. So the Bible is a good media. It's an interface between God and us. God speaks to us through His Word, and a negative connotation to media, like the wrong use, is Satan manipulates communication with lies. So what Satan did, he did the same thing with Adam and Eve. So he took the word, the content, and he changed, twisted it, adding something that then can influence that person to do something wrong, right, or do something right in any case. So that's the power of influence or manipulation. We can use manipulation because if we are using the word, twisting it to get a result out of it, this is manipulation. If we want someone to do something for us, sometimes we twist a bit the truth, and it's half truth, half lies, but it's manipulation as well. So, and as believers, we are called to speak truth in love. That you will know the truth, and the truth will set us free. So, in any circumstances, any context, we're supposed to be speaking truth. We are supposed to be bringing forth the truth about the gospel, but not only about the gospel, but the truth in every aspect of our lives, in our dealings, in work, in our professional life, in our social life, in our personal lives, in our relationships, in everywhere where we're active and we have relationship, where we are in dealings. We're supposed to be true. We're supposed to be honest. We're supposed to speak truth in any matter. So and what is now the influence of media of on individuals? It defines self-image and identity so many times. Unfortunately, youngsters, as they grow, teenagers, they try to find someone to follow, right? Like a role model or something. So what they do is based on that individual that they are following on Twitter and whatever social media. So they form themselves an image after this one. That's not now this mechanism in itself is not bad because Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. So it's a good imitation because Paul is imitating Christ in everything that he does. Also, when we read Paul, we hear Paul. Of course, we read Paul. It's like we're reading in media, which Paul is speaking, and we take whatever Paul has, and we live by that. We make that become our truth, and we identify ourselves in the way we live, we walk, we relate to everyone through Paul's teaching. That's an influence, right? Paul is influencing that us because he has been influenced by Christ and the Holy Spirit. So then we build our identity on it. So I took Paul as an example. Now we can take any good and bad out there in the world where that's how media can influence people. When we see violence, we see all kind of degradation in the society. We see that people now, the sexual immorality around us, the abomination of what we see. So it changed the lifestyle. It changed in what marriage mean. It changed in like we don't talk about adultery now. We call it sexual experiences because now it's normal to have it. So all this is influence. Now we speak about identity. Nobody knows how can we how have we reached a point where no one know. I mean, we don't have an identity when your gender you can change it as well. So you don't have an identity. You can change your identity. You can identify as anything else. So this is part of the influence. That while this has been heavily influenced by the media, because what happens in another country, the discussion, the whatever had happened, has been reported in the media, and as it's reached over countries, over people who want that, they hear that, oh, I want that, they adopt that, they are influenced by that, and then they want to live by that, implement that in their island, in whatever place they are, and now they influence again. And when that has reached a country and they are influence and going for it, it is reported again in their news, in their media outlet, it influence again, and so on. That's how things come from America, has reached Mauritius, good and bad, good and bad. So it affects mental health because exactly because we used to know when I'm born, okay, when I'm growing up, my mom would tell me, "You were a boy, you were a girl." So and then you will grow up as a boy, and you will grow up as a girl with each different lifestyle. One that relates to a boy, one that relates to a girl, and you grow up. We have now youngsters who don't know who they are. They are completely lost. They don't even know their sexuality or their identity. They are completely lost. There is a high rise in such individuals who end up committing suicide because they are completely lost or have a lot of mental illness. I was shocked because last time I was reading how many people have mental illness. I'm not denying it, it's very true. But how come this generation, the past generation, because I'm from the over generation, how come the past generation and this generation has so much mental illness? Well, the individual, we are not even strong. Why? Because they had nothing to build on. The influence from the media, the bad influence is so much that they can't even have an identity. They can't even find themselves in anything. The media has constantly been, like general media, constantly against God, dividing everything of whatever faith, whatever. And then these individuals don't recognize themselves. They don't know who they are. Today they are a girl, tomorrow they are a boy. After that they are it. You can't call he or she. I mean, all these issues create mental health. And then you have when we speak about comparison, you have what the society is projecting in movies, in advertising, and so on, of how the the typical guy is, or ideal guy, or ideal woman, you know models like that. So now we ident I have to be thin, I have to be dark haired, I have to that color, I have to buy this kind of clothes, I have to drive this kind of car, I have to have this kind of houses. I mean, the society is projecting something through the media, right? And enforcing them directly or indirectly, but most of the time it's directly because we want to get something out of it. So now we start comparing ourselves to everyone around us. Okay, because this one is succeeding, so you now become frustrated because you'll not be able to move ahead to move forward. So you have fear of failure that comes. But the fear of failure for what? Because suddenly your benchmark for success is based on what the society says is success, and because you can't meet it, so there's fear, there's pressure, there's so on that comes. All that is the influence that the media has, because many people, many companies are selling their ideas, their ideology, their products, their social, because they want to sell things. So they will sell anything, and they are pitching it so that you get caught into the narratives, and then you are influenced by the narrative. And once you're influenced, you come for the products or whatever it is. They have been brainwashed. Remember at the time when ISIS was having so much of terrorism around Iraq and so on, we have people all over the world being brainwashed through specific medias, going to Syria, going there to fight. Even from Mauritius, we had people going. All our, we could see, and we asked the question: how can they go there? Because they have been influenced by what they have heard. Somehow that spoke with them, and they accepted it, and they went there. If there was no media, no medium, no vector, we would have never received this information or this whatever thing they heard or saw. Yeah. So now it creates cultural norms in the sense that it brings now what is acceptable or unacceptable. So now this is an indirect form of acceptance. It's like there is, let's find a good example. Let's say there is a new way of dressing up, right? Fashion. And then suddenly everybody said, oh, you have to wear that brand because that's the talk of the town. This is a new brand. Everybody's after that. So suddenly, if you wear jeans, you have to wear diesel. In my days, if you wanted to wear a pair of jeans, you should buy Levi's, right? This is acceptable. Levi's is an acceptable brand. Or if you are wearing Levi's, you are good. Now it's another brand. Now it's if you are wearing Levi's, that's just old school. We have to wear Diesel or Gucci or whatever now. So then. Getting dressed, branded, fashionable, or fashionistas as they call it, that's the norm. If you're not clothed or dressed with brands, it means you're out of the norm. So I'm trying to take a light example, but you can relate quickly. But it can go deeper and deeper. Uh, it is acceptable now to have sexual relationship outside your marriage. It is acceptable that you are married, you're in love, but you can have separate sexual intercourse with other women because this is just sex. This is becoming acceptable. It is acceptable that there are couples who would go on exchange nights and dates. So I've heard about that. And quite it exists. So everybody will come in a house, and then they will put the keys in a bowl, and every woman will take the keys, and the man that the keys belongs to, they will go and sleep with them. That's the norm. It is normal. Everything that the Bible calls an abomination, like fornication, sexual immorality, adultery, homosexuality, all this is acceptable and is being enforced in many countries as norm. That's because culture has evolved. Where does that income? It's influence. Influence from some individual who have an agenda, who wants to live like that. So now they're influencing everyone through the media. So that's how it creates culture norms. It can be good and bad. It's the norm. The norm means that's normally how everybody is doing right now. It has heavy influence of economy and business as well. We'll touch that as well. So the media plays an important role in every kind of influence that touches economy. When I speak about economy, it's about the power of living, the way we buy things, and so on and so on. So now on the society as a large, I mentioned it earlier, taking the example for the election, it shapes public opinion and political movement, right? So what happens a lot when you speak about shaping public opinion, if someone is against the actual government in place, let's say it's an opposition party, and he comes out and speak, So somehow the government or the opposition, it depends, they will be using the media to like dirt this person, and so that they will be bringing forth all kind of stories for their past failures or whatever wrong, with the specific idea of putting dirt on that person, so that the society will have a negative um, idea, opinion on that person. Similarly, when we want to promote things, we still use the media, various content, various media vectors, so that we shape public's opinion. Advertising does that, right? For instance, if you want to eat a very good meal of chicken, then you would go to KFC. Or if you want to eat good burgers, well, I'm saying that for right, you will go to McDonald's. If you want to have really roasted chicken, that will be Nando's. So in force of advertising, this is how advertising works, through media, through content, to shape the opinion, the public opinion. So now everybody says, oh, we want, I'll give you a clear example. In our country, there's a very good ice cream, which is we are free. The most famous one is Vona. So we will not say let's go have an ice cream. We will go, let's go have a Vona Corona. Why? Because ice cream through influence has been associated to that particular brand. So everybody will go for that brand. That's what we are talking about. Similarly, when in so many verticals, so many for instance, car, we can associate, let's get a good car with that particular brand, and so many associations like that. So I don't want to go into details, because I just want to give you an idea on how the shaping of public opinion works. Now, political movement is the same. During election time, they are the most active. Every political party will come on the TV, go on paper, have press conference, and try to shape the public opinion by talking, by trying to bring accusations. Most of the time, it's false accusation or assumption on their opposition, with the idea of shaping the public opinion against them so that they get the vote. So we do that not only politically, we do that unfortunately a lot of places. So the media determines cultural narratives and morality, which I spoke a lot on that. The cultural narratives, it means, for instance, there is if we take the example in the US, Black Lives Matter, it has been so much relayed in the media, but it shaped the cultural narratives. Now in Africa, sometimes you have a tribe or colored people or whatever fight social engagement, which the news, the media will take on, and then we will have, by the narratives that they bring, a, every day, every week, every month. So this will shape the narratives of what we believe are the culture. And morality as well. So what is moral and what is not, what is being done acceptable and what's not. Something can be acceptable, but it's not moral. But that's the influence, because everybody is doing it. We tend to think it is morally good. Why it's not? So, of course, and the last one is, it controls what generation believe about family, faith, and purpose. Everything is in the news: relationship, family matters, family issues, what the government is enforcing as policies, what the culture is bringing. At the bottom of it is an individual sitting and listening, reading, all of that. And all of it will touch family, will touch faith, and will touch purpose. So then he gets new ideas of family, of faith, and purpose. Some youngsters no longer believe in God. Why? Why? It's because of the many influences that the media has brought. Now the media is the vector. So people is using the media. But unfortunately, like we said, the narratives are being rewritten, and we are here to listen, to get these narratives and make opinion based on the narrative. So every narrative, faith, cultural, political, social, relational, every aspect of your life is relayed in media. And because but when people read or write or do movies or do songs or do or theaters or what opera, whatever, they are relaying messages. Nobody will do that without any message or wanting to share an emotion, to share an idea, to share a sentiment. They will always be trying to share things. And because we're on the receiving end of it, we will be affected, influenced by what we are receiving. And that's the idea. Anyway, that's the idea. Even me, when I'm talking to you, right? What I'm doing right now is I am sharing my ideas, my philosophy of how we can influence the society for the good with the moral and ethical values that we have as Christians, right? So somebody who does not believe in Christianity or is against Christianity can say that I'm a negative influence. That's the idea. So I want to be very honest about it. That's the idea. The biggest challenges that we have in media today, some of them I spoke briefly about without giving a name: fake news and misinformation. Unfortunately, the power that we have with new technology now, we can create fake news. What are fake news? Fake news are not distortion, is completely made up, completely invented. That's fake news. Then you have misinformation. You think something happened, then we test it, we either add a lot on it or we remove from it. And this is with a definitive plan or agenda to create an opinion, to force an opinion, to influence their thinking and their decision making through what we are sharing. So we also have a lot of media bias and propaganda. It means simply that you have media that will sit with either side A or side B. They have their own agenda, or they serve the agenda of a political party, or of the government, or of a particular religious group, or of a particular ideology. So, and then propaganda is you constantly push that lies and misinformation to the public. So unfortunately, we have this because media is uncontrolled. Who can control social media? Who can control social network? These applications, these networks pop up. These media application pops up every time. So with all legislation, control is placed, everything gets through, and we are heavily influenced by it. So you have the promotion of ungodly lifestyle. We spoke about it, all abomination, everything that is unnatural, right? If I leave religion behind, everything that is unnatural physical relationship, unnatural things being done, which is not humanly possible, but still we go into that. You have the censorship of truth and biblical values. That happens as well. You try to put, like, for instance, what I'm sharing today can be censored on other networks, can be banned on other networks in other countries. If you don't agree with what I'm sharing, I will be censored. So wherever we have, and there is a very, very big, um, like, operation on everything that has to be Christian. So you will see preachers, Christian preachers, preaching everywhere I in the country. They will be harassed. That will never happen to another religion. That's a reality. You won't see if a Muslim is preaching aloud, nobody will come and stop him, right? Because we invented Islamophobia, but Christianophobia we don't hear anything. When we try to oppress and suppress our Christian voice, but we won't fight over that because God has already told us that it would be so. What we have to do is continue and be patient in what we go through. So the censorship of truth and biblical values, this is what happened when they will tell you, oh no, or you can't push your biblical values, you can't bring your Christian values here. We've seen that in America when they are trying to remove prayer, remove Christian holiday naming and changing the name, removing Bibles and so on from institution. That's oppressing. So oversaturation of entertainment and distraction, yes. One of the things that we have to talk, there is a complete different sphere which is dedicated to that. It is arts and entertainment. Media is the vector whereby arts and entertainment is distributed or is available. So today there's an oversaturation, and it means that all the network outlets, all the media vectors are saturated with all kind of entertainment and distraction. There's so many things to watch, so many things to listen, so many things to hear on the media. So that's why you see youngsters, people all ages, stuck on their phone morning to night, scrolling. We call it the thumb. Yeah, the thumb just goes up and down, up and down. The head is bent, we go up and down. There's too much media. They want to consume everything. So we are saturated. The brain is saturated. We no longer think. But it has ripple effect. We are no longer focused. We have the physical damage that it has to our eyes, to our mind, to our brains. We are disconnected from reality because we live in the phone. We are connected to a false connection. We lose the importance of talking. We lose the capacity to talk, to entertain physical, real, credible, tangible relationship. There's so many wrongs to that, right? So, but the point, that's not the point to talk about today, but because we are talking about media. Now, social media and digital influence, we spoke about it, right? Network like Facebook, YouTube, or whatever you name it, this is there. And LinkedIn, or Mastodon, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. TikTok is overkilling it. So, and we hear when we talk about our today, we are talking about the seven spheres of influence. We took media as a second because that's the most devastating one. What do we call these famous people on social network? Influencers. You get the point? Influencers. So people are after influencers because they have followers. What are followers? Followers are simply people who don't think. They just follow what this guy is telling them to do. They will not think or let's say discern. Oh, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million followers. So they feed and live off what they are following. That's it. So, and that today it has created a, well, we can call it positive in the sense that it is a job. You have it has created an economy. We speak about that in economy where influencers get paid for what they do. Again, why do they get paid? Because they can influence people to buy or to use whatever these companies are paying them for. For instance, if there is a famous athlete, he will be using that brand of shampoo. And when he's on TikTok or whatever social media, and he's doing his post, he will take that brand and just use it and tell, oh yeah, use that. This is very good. And everyone watching, because of your influence, will go and buy that. So today in advertising, influencing, we call it influencers, and we make use of these influencers. So, like I said, it can, but the social media can be used like every tool. It can be used for the good or used for the bad. What I'm saying here, like influencer, if he's a good influencer, he can be influencing positively, which means whatever he's promoting, probably a very clean, healthy lifestyle, or moral values or Christian values or whatever, which makes the individual a better individual in the society. The other side, there was this famous guy, I won't give any names. He was he was very rough against women, like downgrading them. He was vocal about violence against women. It's like he was a narcissistic and somebody who would like to control women and who like women is under their feet. So many million followers who thought that what he said, of course, boys and young men, young adults, what he said was right because he was famous, and then everybody is following, but that is deception. And when he changed and went follow a religion, so the adoption follows. So influencers or influence can be both for deception and for evangelism. We can use the social media. Social media rather can be used for deception, but it can also be used for evangelism. It can also be used for the good. It can also be used for the bad and for the good. it's just like a knife. We can use your knife to either cut your bread, use it in the kitchen, or the other bad use of it. So, what are the biblical warnings and lessons? You remember the story of the Tower of Babel when the people would say, "Okay, let's be together, let's form an alliances among ourselves. We could understand, we could block." And then God said, "That is not good," and you know, he did what he had to do. They were removed from the place. They were dispersed around. So when we look at post letters, this is a form of media to spread the truth in the early days. It's like, okay, I have to spread the good news. How do I do? Paul would write these letters, and we even if you read about the what who we call church fathers or apostolic fathers, simply the disciples of the first line of apostle, we call up Clement of Rome, Polycarp, Ignatius, and so on. They also wrote letters because there was no press, there was no social media, there was no internet at that time. So we would write letters, and these letters would be sent, all right, around. You had the originals, and then when the church will have it, they will make copies of it and then send it over again. That's how we have these copies today. Um, and then you have oral tradition. What we have like voice today, you would have oral tradition, way of translation. So Proverbs 12:22 says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord because you're lying. It's like you're distorting the truth. You're distorting the information. You're getting false witness. You're inventing things that are not there. So in the Bible, we have a lot of examples of what the media is and what influencing people through our voice, through information, what that can be. We can even take a sort of social network. Remember when the Israelites were walking in and Rahab heard about but the Israelites were out. How did she know? This is a social network. She said, "Oh, I've heard about the God of the Israelites. He's a mighty God." She knew that they were in trouble. That's social media. It's like the influence was both up to Rahab. She listened to it, and she was saved because of it. So, having discussed all of that, having talking about having covered so much, what is, because with the sphere of what is the Christian approach to all of this, what is our Christian responsibility in terms when it comes to the media? So we are called to promote truth, integrity, and hope. We in everything that we do, we should promote truth, and we should also promote the culture of truth. Like, always speak truth, always speak the truth, tell exactly what happened. No need to sugarcoat, no need to lie, no need to misinform. You tell exactly what happened, and this will foster integrity, faithfulness, belief, and trust, and so on. It is important. When we know someone is lying to us, it breaks down the trust. We don't want to believe that person anymore, and there is a watered down relationship that happens. And it's a lack of integrity as well, because we will be caught up in the lies later on. You lie about something, tomorrow, after tomorrow, it will be known, right? So we should also be using the media for evangelism and discipleship, whatever media. It's like to spread out the word. We call it the Great Commission. Go around, go to all the world, teach them, teach all of them, make them disciple. That's it. Discipleship, evangelism can be used. The media can be used for evangelism. The media can be used to give Christian worldview or Christian interpretation of what is happening in the world today. Not only to push the Christian agenda, but we can look through what we call is the Christian worldview to everything that's happening around us, day-to-day operation, day-to-day living issues through the eyes of the Bible, through the eyes of our faith. Media can do that. So we should also support and raise up Christian journalists, creators, and communicators. Yes, I spoke a lot on uh, I spoke a lot on media and like corruption, compromise, etc. So if you want to avoid that, what we have to do is to raise up Christian journalists with all the values that we have, journalists, creators, and communicators. So we have to have our own people who are formed and form and trained with their own values, who will go on in this sphere and bring the change that we're waiting for. Probably the professionals who are there won't be changed because that's who they are. That's how they are. But we have a place. Why not a Christian journalist? Why not Christian content creators? Not only to bring Christian content, but to bring the real truth, the real news, the one that is not misinformed, one that is not corrupted. We will tell it as it is. If one political party says something, we will tell it as it is. No need to change, no need to add, or no need to remove. So to bring truth in whatever we are doing, to make sure that we have a media platform that is in truth. So that is very important as well. So practical steps for influence, we should have discernment in what type of kind of and how amount what amount of media we are consuming. I spoke about the over usage of phones on, yeah, over usage of phone. We cannot be using our phone that much. So that is an issue. So the consumption of media is something that we have to look into. How much time we spend in per day on our phone? What are we listening to? All right, what are we listening? What movie we're watching? What content are we having? How are we controlling access to content from our kids, youngsters, teenagers? What are they into? So that is very important. This is what we call media discernment in media consumption. So we can also, because everybody has a phone now. Everybody probably has a social media account, or TikTok, Facebook, or LinkedIn. That would be a very good way to share uplifting biblical content. So many people have problems, and we know for a fact that the message from the Bible is a message of love, of comfort, of compassion, of help, of assistance. So we should use the media to promote such content, such help, such access. We should also ensure that, like we said, because media is taking a big part. It's part of our living. We cannot go past media, social networks, everything that's happening. We can't go back that. What we need to do is to train our young people in media literacy. It means understanding all of that. The reason I'm taking time to do these spheres of influence, because these are things that we cannot remove from our life. We have to be better equipped. We have to be better trained, literate about those things, about the good and the bad, so that we can navigate properly into it, so that we can take advantage of it or make good use of it, also protect ourselves from it. That's what's important. Okay? So, and I personally think, this is my idea, I personally think, because we have bias, propaganda, and so on, we should have our Christian alternatives in journalism, in filmmaking, in music, and online platform. Why, when I say Christian alternatives, is because we want to keep truth, we want to flush out any abomination, any illegal stuff. We want to flesh out anything that is unhuman. We want to flesh out any violence. We want to promote something that is good for healthy living for everyone, not just for Christians, for everyone. So we should have alternative, like a news outlet, alternative news outlet. Why? Because we want to have proper, true journalism who does not side with a political party, who does not side with ideology, but will give proper opinions, not trying to influence anyone, but the real interpretation or analysis of what the matter is, or even in films and music and online platforms. So that is important. So, so we have some we have a lot of actually TV channels, or global Christian TV and radio. We have a lot of them. Some are good, some are bad. I have to say, some are non-biased, but some are. They are there because they have agenda, because they are following that party and they're pushing it. or we have a lot of Christian film which are shaping values. I think here about the Kendrick brothers who look a lot of great movies, courageous, but old movies. And you have, yeah, you have Facing the Giants, you have Fireproof, all of that very deep professional movies, good movies, which will give an insight of how we should live, like that proper moral values, proper ethics. You have a lot of evangelists who are using social media to reach millions. Good work. We also have a lot of false teachers, false prophet running the show on social media. This is another. This is the negative side of it. And there is a lot of local initiative and Christian media in Africa, even in Mauritius. I know that for Africa, I'm personally involved with the group. They are launching a TV very soon, which will bring not a Christian TV. Like when I speak about this sphere, I'm not saying push the Christian agenda. No, I'm saying we have values, moral values, ethical values, great values that can be of great use in this sphere. When I say we should have a news outlet, it doesn't mean that that newspaper will only speak about God from morning to night. No, it means that what will regulate that news outlet will be Christian values. We will definitely have to tell the people what's happening in the country. We will definitely need to have to interview with political parties, policy, regulation, police, everything that's happening in life. But our rendering of information will be one that is non-biased, not even Christian bias, but the one that is clean, pure, unbiased, uncompromised. It is as it should be. This is what I'm talking about. So clean, and of course, then we will be pushing for values that enhance the individual as a human. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I said we should be present in that sphere, because of the many negatives that I spoke about. We can bring a change for that if we take our position. So what we have to do, we must refuse to be passive consumer. Passive consumers is like we just see things and we just consume it without even a reaction. And we don't the thing is that we don't even confront the bad now. So when I read the church fathers, or when I read the first 100 years of Christianity, 200, 300, 400 years, the bishops of the days will be confronting every heresy, every abomination, every bad policy. They will be confronting for truth, for the defense of the individual, for the defense of humanity. We don't hear anything today. We don't hear these voices out. So, but we should become intentional voices of truth. We should, and I would call out for the pastors or professional. We should have more presence, more Christian presence in journalism, in media, and digital platform. And we have to stop being only Christian oriented. That's not helping the case. We go to church and we get our food for our faith every day, every Sunday. So, and we have our Bible for that. But every day from Monday to Friday to Saturday, we live in a world where we are there, and there are so many things happening, and we have to be in this place. And what a better way to be in the media, because the media is connected to everything, and that's why I say we have to be present, because in interpreting what's happening in everyday life, that's on the media. In having a voice, that's in the media. In, like I spoke about, all kind of media, we have to take a position in digital platform. We have to have a place in digital platform. We have to have a say. Why can't we have, like last time I was sharing that with a group of person. I said there was the national budget, and of course it was live. It was shared, it's streamed online, and many professionals were involved. But there was not a Christian worldview to it, because you would have people who be complaining because they are against the government. They don't want to really have a real look into it. There were professionals who did, but that would be finance professional. But we also have this worldview which we say, okay, let's be unbiased, let's be true to it, and let's also give a Christian perspective to it, because of the way we are called to live, how can we read into that? Or how can we look into that and say, okay, this is what we should do, what God called us to do as per our faith, our belief, and what we should do. So that's what I said. So Romans chapter 10, verse 15, Paul says, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things. Of course, he's speaking about the gospel, but there are so many good things. So many good. Last time we were I'm in a group discussion where there's a lot of opportunities, jobs, and so on, but the government creates. But these are good news, but nobody hears about them. A group of technical people, we hear about them. They are the first to go and always take credit and take benefit of these opportunities. Now we have a group. We are once we hear about this opportunity, we are spreading the news. That's it. Good news and good things. There's so many things that are done which is unknown. It is purposefully hidden, kept so that a very specific group or person can benefit can benefit from it. So this is what I'm talking about. So let us pray that God will raise faithful communicators and protect our mind from deception. The word, the word is very, it says, renew our mind every day. There's so much rubbish that comes out from what we call the world. So much abomination, so much wrong that we have to be protected against that. And the church has another responsibility to defend what our faith is and what the Bible teaches, what God teaches, so that our Christian life is protected. But even though putting the Christian life beside, there's so many wrongs, manipulations, scams, and so on going out in the news, online, and so on, which is at the detriment of the individual, where we can take a place for that. So we have to pray that we have such people, such presence, such media, such outlets that will counter all these things. That would be my prayer. And let us also think about how in our own island, our own country, in our own locality, how can we come together and ensure that we have a media that is working in that direction? Because the population, believers or non-populate or not, they need to get good, unbiased, uncompromised, not disform information, so that they can do real decision. Let us be partakers. Let us be partakers. Let us work towards that. Let the church, let the professionals, let's all come together so that we can do something. And that would be a prayer. Let's pray for that. So that would be it for the media. Every week I share the resource. For the past 2 years, we've been doing Zoom calls, in-present workshop, online sessions, and we have been publishing magazines. What we have now, I have created, we've worked on a series of resources that cover the 7 spheres of influence. These are books which are available. Some of them is for purchase and some of them are free. And if you want to connect with me, you want me to help you, if you want to set up something in your locality, or you have a group, I'm available. This is my contact. You can contact me anytime. I will be very happy to join you, to help you, and sit down, work together, how we can make sure that we take our place in this sphere of influence. Thank you for today. And I give you, let God bless you for the week. We meet in next week. I think it will be arts and entertainment, because we just spoke about media. We'll jump onto arts and entertainment. Till then, God bless you. For those who will be watching on demand, because I know the time I'm doing it might not get short, but if you're watching it on demand, you can still contact me. Share it around if you think it has been useful, to your pastor, to your other professional, to anyone you know who is involved in the media. Let's get the word out. God bless you. Bye-bye.